Hey guys, it's Tyson Johnson and Jeffrey Smith joining you for another Six Pack Dad Tribe podcast episode. Jeffrey, thanks for joining us again tonight.
Oh, it's awesome. Thanks for doing this again every month.
We've had fun interviewing some of our rock star clients and shining the spotlight on them. And
Yeah.
Jeffrey and I, this is overdue. We pick up so many nuggets by coaching, one on one in the community, and just got some stuff to share with our listeners, clients, or those considering joining us. So tonight we want to share different lessons that we've learned from watching our clients over the past month or so, and then also what we have built in the Six Pack Dad Tribe that's different than anything else out there. And then a new component of this is the value of a Tribe Fire mastermind. We've started small group masterminds that have become very powerful. So that's what's on the agenda tonight. And I thought I would start by sharing something. I just had a coaching call with one of our legacy clients who's been with us now, 9 months. His name Greg. You probably know him, Jeff and Jeffrey. And one thing he shared with me yesterday was um, this lesson talking about a lifestyle is the power that daily choice is in doing the small and the simple things. And that sounds so basic, and yet it's truly what separates people who go around with, say, 15 or 10 or even less percent body fat, and those who struggle with their weight and their fitness their whole life. It boils down to some very small and simple daily choices and how we choose to attack that. And so, shout out to Greg if he listens to this. I loved his words and how he vocalized that yesterday and found that just to be like bullseye type mindset thinking. Um, and the cumulative effect that our meal timing has, treating food as fuel, that's 30 minutes, say, invested in the gym. These are small daily choices that truly make the difference. So that was one thing I wanted to share. What Jeffrey, what's one of your nuggets as you've been working with all of our clients?
You know, listening to guys like Ron, Paul, and Lyle, understanding the consistency that they've applied to the program. And it seems like that would be complicated, but that's really what I find is the simplest thing out of the program is just staying consistent. They've each built a routine that's allowed them to accomplish some very, very significant um, benchmarks and moving their progress forward in this in the program, because without the routine that they've established, I don't see either one of them being as successful as they are. When I match that up to other guys who, I mean, everybody in this program is accomplished in one way or the other. They're all smart guys, they're all accomplished guys. They're not struggling necessarily in interpersonal relationships or business. This one area is what's caught them up. And you look at the difference between the guys that are really moving the needle and the guys that aren't moving the needle. It's that consistency of their routine every single day and the ability to think forward a little bit. Like Ron's example of his meal prepping when he was traveling, making sure he had his protein powder, making sure he looked ahead and saw that there was going to be a gym available or some sort of exercise facility available for him. And he planned around all that because the time is there for everybody. We've talked about it 100 times. The time is in the day. It's not a matter of not having enough time. It's a matter of being consistent. And you hear a lot of these guys say, what is my biggest hang up? It's like, oh, I'll get started, but I don't follow through. I'll do it for 30 days and lose 10 pounds. And then I stop doing that. That consistency for them stops. They never build it into a lifestyle, which is what the consistent routine that guys like Ron and Lyle have developed that will make this sustainable for them.
You nailed something. I had Ron on my list as well, and that was such a neat example. This is for those who are listening and don't know Ron, he's a senior sales consultant in his 50s, travels all over the world, and he told Jeffrey and I, "Hey guys, I have this trip to Arizona. It's a corporate trip." And he has gluten intolerances. Like he has to be pretty careful about what he eats. And he told Jeffrey and I reported proactively, here is how I plan to win on this trip. And he did. He,
Yeah.
Thursday rolled around like 3 or 4 days later, and he took a photo of himself in jeans and a slim t-shirt, and the dude just is intentional and is it's it's so funny. Like my joke is we're business professional dads, right? And
Hmm.
we would never show up to an interview or a board meeting or a proposal meeting in our underwear with no proposal or agenda. And here was a neat example of a guy who chose not to do that with his fitness.
Right.
He planned and he won with it. So
Things like calling the restaurants he knew they were going to eat at, and getting a hold of the menus ahead of time, so that once he was there, he was prepared to make his choices right away rather than asking a lot of questions. And being that example to the other guys in his group, creating that curiosity as to what one, man, you've lost a lot of weight, you look great, but his individual behavior throughout the entire trip, being prepared, knowing what he was going to order, making sure he was getting his fitness in the mornings, regardless of the fact that it was a business trip. And it's real easy to say, I'm not going to do anything on this trip and I'll start it back up when I get home Monday. And we've heard that excuse, time after time after time. Well, I had to take this trip on the weekend with the kids, so I just put everything on pause.
mhm.
And then we see, they have those setbacks every single week when they do things like that. And it's the fact that they get out of the routine, or they just have never established a routine to allow them to be consistent.
Yeah. So another another item I have, actually just last on my list since you checked Ron off. I'm gonna kind of hit 2 bullet points in one, and then you can share, and then we can keep moving on with other topics here. But it's this notion we have clients, especially as summer starts approaching. I hear you share this a lot, Jeffrey, with our one-on-one or our proactive weekly feedback, and you're spot on. Our What we're talking about here is so much more than just weight. We're talking about that shirt fitting correctly. We're
Mhm.
talking about our confidence is really what we're talking about. We're talking about, as you and I do intake calls for people who want to work with us, we're talking about marriage issues sometimes, embarrassment, right? Going to Hawaii or a beach and flat out being scared or embarrassed to take our shirt off. It Like these are deep emotional problems that won't just solve themselves.
Right.
And coupled with that is this. So I was reminded of that with a few intake calls. The other thing I wanted to mention here is on I think the question people are thinking in their mind a lot when they've watched our webinar, they apply to work with us, is will this work for my unique situation?
Hmm.
And without sounding like a jerk or cocky, over and over again in my mind, what I think is your situation isn't all that unique because we've seen almost all of it. Like
Right.
we get it. We're busy professionals. We don't have time. We need accountability. Most of us have knee or back or neck or shoulder problems. We have
Yeah.
limitations. Many of us have foods we don't like to eat or certain limitations, and yet, so all that being said, the solution and the principles that are applied are timeless and remain the same. So yes, we customize it. Yes, we take into account people's different unique circumstances, and yet the laws of science, the satiety index, filling satisfying foods, calorie deficit, insulin sensitivity, all of these things apply regardless of a person's unique situation. So that's a nugget that I've picked up on, is that yes, we're unique and yet we are the same, and we shouldn't kid ourselves that we're just talking about wanting to lose 20 pounds. We're talking about solving things that affect us deeply and emotionally way beyond our weight. And that was a powerful realization for me this week.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. It's a matter of, you've heard me say it, we've talked about it with no matter what's going on in your day or your life or your work, whatever you're doing, you have to eat. And so the one thing you can control almost 100% is one, the foods that you are choosing to eat, and two, the amount of those foods that you're choosing to eat. You can control that. Maybe you can't get to the gym one day, you're traveling, it's a long day, it's just not available. And the thought of doing body weight exercises when you get to the hotel, makes you cringe. It's just not going to happen. So the reality is, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do those things today because my schedule and my mindset's not going to allow me to do it. But you don't have to eat the Milky Way and drink the Mountain Dew and the bag of Fritos and all those things that we tend to do when we feel like I'm running out of time. So I'm going to do something fast because I want my stomach to feel happy.
Yep.
And we make those choices that way. And before you know it, you've eaten 5,000 calories of stuff that does your body zero good. There's no nutritional value to what you've done all day, yet there's no room for real food now. And your day is blown. And it really, I scratch my head all the time when I hear the guys say that I didn't have time to do this. You might not have time to meal prep, but anywhere you go, I don't care where it is, you can find an item on a menu that will fit your need, for that day. Even if it's terrible, it's a small portion then. Versus having a full blown meal. You can't find a salad. All you can find is a cheeseburger. Well, you don't have to eat the whole cheeseburger. You eat half that cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And that's going to satisfy you. Physically, it will satisfy you. Emotionally, it may not satisfy you. And that's the battle that you're really having is I want that entire cheeseburger, because your brain is telling you, I want that entire cheeseburger, not your stomach. Because nutritionally, your body doesn't want any of it, of what you're putting into your body there. And it will tell you that, the healthier you eat, every time that you stray too far, your body reminds you real quick that, no, I didn't like that at all. So that's one of the head scratchers to me is the I don't have time to take care of myself. I'm too busy. I've got kids activities. I've got we've got family activities. I've got work from 7 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. Everybody does. Everybody has all of that all the time. It may look different, but it's the same. So what are you going to choose to do? And getting that mindset to them to say, yes, you can let's start with you choosing the right foods. And then let's start with you choosing the right portions, and now let's figure out how to get you active. If they could just do those 3 steps there in that order, we can make a lot of progress with some of these guys. But a lot of guys, it's all or nothing. I can't do any of it, so I'm going to do none of it.
Mm.
And then I don't care. And then you run into all the other things. My shirts don't fit. My pants don't fit. I don't want to go to the beach. I don't want to be at the pool. I don't want to wear those shorts, that kind of stuff, because we have the other emotional components of this entire journey start to come into play.
You prompted just 2 more thoughts on that. One, for me, one of the funnest things to hear out of someone's mouth, and we're hearing it more and more from people, is my taste buds have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I heard that from Jim in our mastermind. I've heard you say that. I've heard Joe say it. A lot of people, and that is an awesome sign to me, a litmus test as to where someone's at on the lifestyle. Because to your point, if our body starts rejecting junk food and it's starting to get sensitive to real high sodium stuff,
Mm-hmm.
now we are in a good spot where the sugar cravings have been, and it makes the journey easier to sustain. And the other thing that I wanted to mention was I just did an intake call today with a guy about my age, successful attorney. He actually owns an Orange Theory gym in Utah. And it was cool that he was on a call with us trying to solve this problem as a gym owner. And what this goes back to is 80% of this transformation for most people, it's nutrition
Mm-hmm.
and mindset. And the physical activity is the other 20%. It is very important, but that cat can be skinned in lots of different ways. And people, it gets a ton of focus from people, and yet almost minimal focus on the nutrition. So, when we couple accountability and a good approach, that's where we're seeing these breakthroughs for client after client after client. It's Yeah, of course we help people on the fitness side and keeping it brief and intense and being sensitive to their schedule, but it's the nutrition where the needle moves.
Yep.
So
And you'll hear almost any personal trainer, fitness coach, nutrition coach, all these guys subscribe to that same thought pattern. Activity becomes more important depending on what you're trying to accomplish, more or less important, but nutrition is always constant. The only thing that's going to change is the amount of food that you may eat to achieve the results that you're trying to achieve. But the type of food won't change. You look at anybody, all the way from, marathon runners to guys that just want to lose fat to bodybuilders, they're eating whole, healthy, real food all the time to fuel themselves. And if you could stick to that in the beginning of this program, you can make so many strides towards accomplishing the goals that you set forth at the beginning. It's when they get off that, you get off the beaten path per se, and go back to the things that I just love cheese. I got to have cheese. Okay. Let Tyson and Andrew and I figure out how to work cheese into this for you, but don't tell me that or send me a Marco Polo when you're in a cheese coma because because you couldn't take it and you've eaten an entire bag of shredded cheese because you had to have it. It's all moderation, and there's really nothing that we can't have. And you talk about that, those the junk meals or the cheat meals per week, letting your body feel that, and kind of reset itself and recharge its metabolism as we get that metabolism locomotive rolling. And it's so hard to get some of these guys to get to that point and to trust the fact that no, you're not going to, be off bread forever and dairy and cheese and yeah, you're going to be able to have birthday cake and that kind of stuff. But it took a lifetime to get to where you are right now at this starting point, and it's going to take us a good 12 weeks to detox you from those bad habits. So some of this stuff is cold turkey.
yeah. Yep.
And those guys that have that mindset, like the Rons and the Lyles and the Stars, those guys, get that part of it there, and that's why they've been so successful, and not just talking about the program and how they represent the program, but we look at their actual data, and the progress is right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, before we move on to, and we're almost even covering some of this, what we've built that's different than anything else out there. Any other final nuggets, words of wisdom, just watching our clients succeed? Do you want to pass on?
I just think that as anybody that goes to our YouTube channel and watches those videos or just peruses the website, to understand that this is a lifestyle program. It's not a get thin quick program, and everybody's goals are going to be different because everybody's physical body is different. Even though scientifically we can apply a lot of things to everybody and make progress, this is a matter of massaging that program to make it fit and hack your individual body. So there's going to be times that you don't make progress on the scale, but we've made progress in other areas that are going to lead to progress in the scale. And I think that's, when guys spend the money to have somebody help and coach them, they have to trust that process. You look at a lot of, nowadays, so many people, they have a coach for a reason. Professional sports teams are coached for a reason because these guys can't assemble themselves together and go out and win a football game. There has to be structure. there. And this is very similar. We create that structure. Your program has that structure, and we guide them through through all those pitfalls so they get to their results as fast as possible, even though that's different for everybody.
Yes. Yeah, and we have people that join us at a lower price point who are do-it-yourselfers, and they want the information and maybe some support reactively. We have that. We have people who want one-on-one accountability and handholding. We have that. We have, maybe for the 1% of the market, the ultra affluent who want an experience and to fly and meet with me. And we can hit almost every end of the market, but I think that's actually a pretty good segue, something you just shared. What we've built that's different from anyone else. I want to talk about for a second just phase one and phase two, because what's gotten fun is we have Ron, we have Lyle, we have a bunch of other guys who have officially hit their fit and healthy weight. And
Mhm.
they're like, guys, I don't want to lose any more fat or weight. Like Lyle hit 9% body fat.
Right.
And I was joking him like, what are you trying to take over my business here? Like now you're contending with me here, which is so awesome. And so what we've built as a small little nimble company is phase two now, where the guys who are lean enough and fit, but want to, you and I joke about is, okay, we don't want a string hanging out of our shirt anymore and call it our arm. We want to
Right.
develop some guns now and some muscle and working on our strength. We're building that as we
Yes.
speak alongside our clients. And I think that's one piece of something we are doing that's different from everyone else. Is it, to your point, it's not a 30-day or a 90-day shred 20 pounds and then you're done. We know that this is a journey. We know this is a lifestyle. We know that goals evolve and change, and that's what makes life fun. And because, and by the way, for those who are listening, like Jeffrey and now Joe and Andrew and others, like you guys started as clients.
Right.
And then I realized I'm always watching for talent. And I realized early on, hey, Jeffrey has as much or more passion about this than I do. And he's this amazing client and he's stuck with it and he does everything I say. And he's way good at interviewing people. He likes to podcast, he likes to coach. So I brought you on and it's worked amazing. And then we have Joe who loves to build communities and masterminds, and now he's running our small group mastermind. So we recognize that this is a journey for people, and if we surround ourselves with enough winners, little developments keep happening with this business that makes it pretty special. So I have more bullet points, but let me flip it to you for a second, because you have experience working with other coaches, you have experience with other programs, you're a former triathlete, kind of powerlifting background. Does anything stand out to you from a do-it-yourself ebook or other things, other programs, versus what we're trying to build and do?
I think the thing that makes all programs successful is the accountability part. I'm not a great do-it-yourselfer. I can function in that realm, and I have succeeded and made progress and achieved goals in the do-it-yourself stuff. But I found that as I get older, in particular, there's a reason there are coaches out there, and they see things from a different perspective. And I find that having that accountability and the coach is the difference between just downloading an ebook. Now, if you're just looking for recipes to get you through a program that you're working on, you download the ebook. I don't need a coach, to do recipes for me. If I'm looking for specific exercises, or movements or training regimes, you can download that stuff. That's all out there, and that's perfectly effective. I don't need hand holding. A lot of guys don't need hand holding through those specifics. It's making sure that you're doing your training and you're following the program, and having somebody to check in with makes the program successful. When I trained for my Ironman and had my coach, I mean, there was daily accountability because my stuff would upload. I had my smartwatch that tracked everything that I did, all of my workouts, all of my training, and my body at the same time. So it tracked my heart rate and all that different type of stuff. And when I'm done training and you save and you're done, it uploads. She saw my training every single day that I was supposed to be training. And she set up that training to specific things to happen every single week so that there was progress being made, that I was getting faster as a runner and I was getting faster and developing stamina as a cyclist, that kind of stuff. I think that's the important component. As I look at other programs out there and I research, I look, okay, this program looks like ours. What makes it different? And you look at the different components of it. There's a lot of programs that say there's one-on-one coaching, but it's really not one-on-one coaching. They'll put together a workout for you that you download on Monday, and there's a nutrition plan that you follow, but it's that those canned, and you can tell they're canned. It's not a specific, here's shoulder exercises for Jeff because his shoulder is recovering from surgery. It's shoulder exercises with a note that says modify as needed. So to me, that's not one-on-one coaching. Somebody's providing it and you've paid for it, yes. But ours goes to, you know what, you can Marco Polo me every day and I'll answer your question. You could send me a question, text me every day, and when I can answer that question, I will answer that question. Lyle, hey, dude, I need to talk to you for 10 minutes. Are you available, at 8:00 at night? Lyle kills it. So I know this is an important question. He's not just calling the chat. I take the call. That's one-on-one coaching to me, that level of service. And I think that's what makes the difference when you can, define what that terminology actually means and what differentiates you. That's what I see it being the difference.
It's fun you mentioned that. We've had Lyle and Star and others film themselves working out because they want to make sure their form is correct.
Right.
And like we talked with, I won't mention names here, but hey, your shoulders are rounding and you're going to hurt yourself on bench press and your elbows are flaring out. Mm-hmm. Or you're doing calf raises and you have dumbbells on your knees. If those fall, like that's what we're talking about, because our clients can video themselves and it's almost like we are there with them at their beck and call using technology. But in my mind, that's the support side of one-on-one. The other, I've got a few little bullet points here to build on what you just said. It's also weekly, transparent, proactive accountability where every Friday, your, say, 9 or 10 clients, they know they're going to get a polo from you. Mm-hmm. And they know that they're expected to track their eating live as they go. And you're going to be brutally honest about the great things they are doing. And it's very positive. I know because I'm on all your threads listening in the background. And those things that they can change to move the needle faster in building this lifestyle. And the other piece of this that I mean, we have almost 100% success rate with our one-on-one Gold Circle program, which has been so fun. And we're interviewing all these guys because they get a one-on-one call with you or Andrew, because time is one of their most scarce resources. And we just, in an hour's time, we say, if you do this, you should lose 2 pounds of fat a week. Mm-hmm. And they go out and they flat out, they just do it and they get the result. Oh, by the way, we're going to check on you every week. Yeah, hit us up whenever you need us and we're there. And every one of them would attest it's VIP, like fast service, but it's every week you're going to be getting feedback from us for 12 mm-hmm. weeks. And then, by the way, when we're starting to get annoying or becoming white noise, we have this thing called a mastermind. And these are other people who have invested a lot financially. So they're very committed and they want a return on this. They're all doing the same program as you, and they've been coached by us. And they're all high income working professional dads.
Right.
That's a pretty cool circle. Oh, and by the way, it's only 4 or 5 of you, and it's moderated with an hour agenda on Zoom once a month. Here's a place for you to connect with like-minded people and share best practices and ask for help, and then let's rotate it quarterly and help you keep meeting new people. I am thrilled that has blossomed in the tribe, and we have people just loving that.
Hmm.
Um, the other piece is me as the owner of the company. I don't like, from a scaling perspective, you and Andrew are beautiful solutions for me, but also a year of text messages for me, so that I, as the owner, bring accountability and people can reply and get feedback directly from me. We're truly trying to provide something that can be, it's based on science, it's based on a sustainable lifestyle, and like-minded dads with high moral values coming together and changing each other's lives.
Yeah. And
So
it truly is that. And you look at the guys that are coming into the program, and I have people tell me, how do you have time, have time for this on every Friday to do these Marco Polos and this analysis? And I think the success of that goes back to how we've scaled it, appropriately. I don't have 20 guys that I'm working with at one time to make it impossible to give the attention to these guys. What you promised, at the beginning of the program is exactly what we're delivering, and we've done it exactly right. As soon as the plate becomes too full, something changes for us to make sure that the plates don't get too full. And you've been a mastermind at being able to juggle that and making sure that we're not buried in work that we can't deliver on, because it could quickly unravel, with being scaled inappropriately. And I think that's just doing due justice to these guys and their investment, is saying, hey, we know how to balance out what we need to do so that each one of you gets the exact same level of VIP service, and not one guy gets left out of the mix.
yeah, you're right, and we're so blessed because uh, the people we bring on are, they're not full of excuses. They're not here to screw around. Like, they have their professions that they're focused on, six-figure earners. They have their families. They have community responsibilities, side hustles like you and
Yeah.
me. They're not here to screw around. Like, they have a real question, or they know what they should be doing. So
Right.
they ask when they need it and they execute. And so we're very blessed to have the caliber of people that, and we're pretty selective when I mean, we've
Right.
had a lot of applications come through that weren't a good fit. You can attest to that even over the past week.
Yeah.
Um,
And the structure of that initial call and that onboarding mentality really helps them decide this is not going to be right for me, and they're making the decisions, and we're not having to say, you know what, dude, we can't help you. Because one, that would send them away with a taste in their mouth saying, I'm not helpable. I can't achieve that. These guys who are the coaches and supposedly experts in this area just told me I can't be helped. What does that do?
yeah.
For that poor guy's psyche. So the way that it's structured to give them the information they need, and the way we have that conversation, allows them to decide honestly, without feeling bad, that doesn't work for me. Know right away, either one, I'm not going to commit to that, and I know I won't do it, or it's simply out of my price range. And I wish I could, but it would be, unfair for me to even attempt this.
Yeah.
And that's a brilliant stroke that I think a lot of other programs don't have. It's either sign up or don't sign up. And you're doing it online a lot of times without these phone calls, and you think you have all the information, and then you pay your money, and then you're into it, and you're like, this is absolutely not what I want, or I literally can't commit to it, and now what do I do?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's important that we work through that in the beginning, to take that time. And somebody might say we've wasted 30 minutes, but I think in reality we've given that guy 30 minutes back, by, you know, allowing him to be honest with himself with the information.
Great point. By the way, is if you're listening to this and you are interested in that type of a phone call, you can go to the sixpackdadtribe.com/call, and it'll pull up mine and Jeffrey's calendar. And we're very happy to talk with you. We probably, if you jump on our calendar, we probably will ask for a short little application so we can get a little more info. But um, yeah, we'd love to. We've got capacity, and we're looking for our next handful of clients, ideally one-on-one clients, that we can help transform their life and get that energy and that confidence back, get that fit, lean, healthy look that maybe they had in high school or college, but it's been a decade or two since they had, or maybe have never had. All
Mhm.
walks of life. Again, the sixpackdadtribe.com/call. Jeffrey, I know we're bumping up to our hour mark. Any kind of final parting words of wisdom you want to share here before we wrap this episode up?
I think every guy who's not already there physically, and fit emotionally, just needs to explore what the program has to offer. It may not be for them specifically, but it could give you enough information to move you in a direction that allows you to find something that is also going to help you achieve what you're trying to achieve, in your time frames or your budget, or just your emotional capacity of what you're willing or can commit based on work and family obligations and all those other things that crop up for all of us. As you said earlier, their situations really aren't unique. We all have families, we all have jobs, and there is only 24 hours in a day for all of us to do whatever it is we're going to do. Yet we do find the time. And it's cliche, but if we don't find time to take care of ourselves, you're going to have to find time to be sick and broken at some point in your life. You know, barring unnatural things that happen to us that we have no control over. You know, and those things are out there, but explore it, take a look at it, look at the videos, look at the testimonials, read the information. There's a lot there that can help move you in the right direction. And if you think that we can help you, we're more than willing to spend any amount of time we need to help you get educated to be able to make a decision. That's time well spent for us.
Well, Jeffrey, you started back in July of last year, and here we are, end of March, and you've made your own transformation, and have it's so fun to watch you helping other people, and salute you for the determination that takes, and kids getting married. And please tell Karen thanks for giving up an hour on you're a full-time working professional. You gave up an hour of your evening, and a lot of words of wisdom. I'll end with how I started, and regardless of what our listeners do from here, we would invite you to consider your daily choices and not discount those small and those simple things that will allow you to 80/20 your life. And so we're grateful you join us. Again, go to the sixpackdadtribe.com and check us out, and we'll catch you on probably interviewing someone else on an upcoming podcast. Jeffrey's even better than I am at doing that, so he's taking the reins on that, and in many cases, and we'll join you on the next show. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks.